Welcome back to the share. We're doing Masechet Horayos. We will start Shabbos the next day or two, but for now we're in Horayos, Perek Shlishi. We are on page 10 Zayin. So Rav Lazar, he used to learn the following brayso: Ein lashon anina ela ameis bavad. Aninas is a lashon of sadness on a mace. Yichsiv v'ana v'ana v'sacheha. It talks about people dying with a sword. It's not the best topic to start with, but there we are. V'hasir doesn't say v'ana adayogim. This talks about Aninas, about punishments of monetary loss from the fish in the river. This is what the Brisa means. Aninas doesn't pass the person from eating kachim, only when it's Aninas for a mace, a relative who's died, bilvad. But the pain caused another paranios, even any other tsar doesn't passel. What is Anina? How long does it last? Now there's big machlokes poskim about when lo aleinu a mace dies and when a person can't wear tefillin. Yeah? Is it the first day? Is it the first day? What if the Levi is on the same day? Is it still the next day or not? So part of it is connected with this. So Ezei Anina. What is Aninus? Mishas Misa Vachas Gevura, Divrei Rebbe. The Rebbe holds from the time of death till the time of burial. The Chacham say Kol Asayom. All the day of the death. Yeah, all the day of that death. Now, so what does that mean? If you look carefully, you'll find in Rebbe there's a leniency and a severity, and the same with the Chachamim. The difference is like this. Let's say someone died, and he was buried close to his death. He was buried like close after he died, the same day the person was buried. Also, he can't eat kachim kol asayim the whole day, even after the burial. He can't eat kachim because they say it goes all of that day, regardless of the actual funeral. But Adzati de Rebbe, it's only the time between the death and the burial bilvad. So after the burial, he's mutar to eat kachim, even though the day of death is still there. So there's a leniency according to Rebbe and a severity in the Chachamim. Now what about the other way around? If someone dies, we're only buried 3 days later. According to the Chachamim, he's forbidden that day of death, but after that day, he's mutar to eat kachim, even though the mace has not been buried. According to Rebbe, he's forbidden until the burial. So according to Rebbe, that Ninas carries on all the way until the burial. Now, we do really paskin like Rebbe, really, that Ninas goes all the way up to the burial, right? That's what we do. Now, the opinion holds that Rebbe, even in a case where the burial was taking a while to the death, is machmid, Ninas carries on to the burial. Also, he said, Rav Chisda, Trey number, and they said, even Rebbe agrees that he's only forbidden to eat kachim on the first day. Even if the burial carries on, he can eat kachim when the day of death finishes. And they say he wasn't coming to be strict on this, that the person's oinen all the way till the burial. It's to be lenient that if they buried him the same day, the Aninas finishes straight away, not at the end of the day. They bring a riot to Rav Yechon and Rav Chisda that Rebbe was being lenient. He agrees Aninas doesn't carry on after the first day. Prove to you, now, Aninas, the following night after the day of death, is not from the Torah, he says. It's rabbinical. They said, Einen. Now, an Einen, who one of his family died Erev Pesach, right? Tovel, he can go in the mikveh, and eat his Korban Pesach that night. Now, the fact they allow him to eat the Korban Pesach the following night, that must mean that Aninas at night, after the day of death, is only rabbinical. Because if it was Minat Torah, they would not allow him to eat the Korban Pesach. Okay, now the Gemara finishes off its proof, according to Rav Yechon and Rav Chisda, that Rebbe agrees that Aninas only carries on, does not carry on after the day of death. You have to say the words of Rebbe in this brisa, in a case where the burial carries on afterwards, that Ziv Arei Amru. Now in the brisa, in the name of Rebbe, it says, Aninas of the night is not Minat Torah. it sounds like the Aninus of the night is not Min HaTorah, but Aninus Hayom, implying that day, even after the burial, is Min HaTorah. So you have to say, that's what the implication is. You have to say that Rebbe in this brisa is talking about a case where the burial was delayed. And if it happened in the middle of the day of Erev Pesach, you can stop to be an Oinem Min HaTorah already in the middle of the day, not like at night. The fact that he said Aninus at night is not Min HaTorah in a case where the burial is being delayed, we could say he agrees, according to the Chachamim, Min HaTorah Aninus actually never carries on after the day of Misa, which basically is what, even if it's buried, he agrees it doesn't carry on after the day. Just want to see this again. The fact that he said that at night it's not Min HaTorah, even if the burial was delayed, we can conclude that he agrees to the Chachamim that Min HaTorah, it never carries on after the day of Misa, right? Even if the burial was delayed. Rav Chiz, Rav Yosef, Rav Yevon, Shem Rav Huna, Tivto. Now we could explain this brayso. It's talking about a case with Shanik Bam Din Dumei Chama. That means the person was buried very close to sunset on Erev Pesach. So the brayso says Aninus of the night is rabbinical. Aninus of the day is Min HaTorah. V'les Shema Min HaKlum. You can't learn what is Rebbe's view in the case of a burial, which was delayed a few days later, because this brayso, the burial actually happened on the day of death. You see, it was a very late in the day burial. Okay. Anything which is more regular comes first. Right? If you've got 2 mitzvahs to do, you do the one which is more regular. Anything which is more holy, you should do first. So, Par Mashiach, you've got the Cohen bringing a Par Kohen Mashiach of the Kohen Gadol, a Par of the Helam Dava of the Eidah, Sha'ondim, which are needed to be brought. Par Mashiach Kohen Par Eidah B'chol Masav. The Par of the Kohen Gadol comes before the Par Eidah. Let's see. As far as saving people, we save a man first. If they're both in danger, you can only save one. And to return lost items. Right? You can only return one. We do them one. Why? Because the man is mitzvah in all mitzvahs and the woman is not mitzvah in all of them. Therefore, he's considered holy in that respect. As far as embarrassment and shame and being covered, we need clothes, then we clothe the woman before the man. Her embarrassment is more. And she also comes first as far as redemption from captivity. We redeem the woman first. If, however, there's a danger of immorality to both of them, the man and the woman, then then the man is the one who is redeemed first, because that is worse. Anything which is more common, we do it first. The feature says, so why do we bring the Par Mashiach before the Par Eidah? Now, if the Par Kohen Mashiach comes before, this is Yom Kippur, by the way. It's not Par Elam Dava. This is Par Eidah. This is only Yom Kippur. So if it's there, I think so. No. It is Par Elam Dava. So this one, this one, he provides the forgiveness, and the tzibur get their forgiveness. Let him bring his first before he's bringing theirs. Just like we find with the avodah of the Kohen Gadol, yeah. So let him do his and make him clean, and then he can give atonements for everyone else. Nidvas Mashiach, you got a donation of Nadav of a carbon of Kohen Gadol, Nidvas Nasi, Nidvas Mashiach Kedemis, the Mashiach comes first. Nidvas Sibo of Nidvas Nasi Kedemis, the Nasi comes first. Nidvas Mashiach Nidvas Sibo, what about community or the Kohen Gadol Mikadam? Yishmeina bin Hada, we learn from the following, Nidvas Mashiach, the Seiri Avodah Zarah, the Nidvas of the Kohen Gadol and goats of Avodah Zarah, aimed in, they're ready to be brought. Seiri Avodah Zarah came in, the Avodah Zarah comes first, their blood goes in the Heichal and the Pareiches, the God of Mizbeach, so they are holier. The Tana never said that Avodah Zarah comes first, it's because the blood comes inside. Without that, the Mashiach's carbon would come before the Seiri Avodah Zarah, even though it's Kabbalah Sivor. This tells me Nidvas Mashiach, Nidvas Sivor, if you got Kohen Gadol or Sivor, Nidvas Mashiach, and Mashiach comes first. If you had an Eilaf of Avodah Zarah of the Tzibur, B'Sayer Abayma, and a Sayer comes with it for Chatas, B'Chatas Acheres, another additional Chatas, what's the order? On the one hand, Pa kodem l'sayir. The pa of avodah zarah comes before the sayir that comes with it. But sayir of avodah zarah kodem l'chatos acheres comes before another chatos, because the dama sayir is holier. It goes inside, whereas the other chatos just stays on the outside mizbeach. On the other hand, chatos acheres kodemes the pa. The other chatos comes before the pa ha'olah, because always chatos comes before olah. So hey chavidas, so what do we do? The goat is still considered premature as far as the pa. You've not yet got the time to bring the sayir, because you've got to bring the pa first. So kamisha kadmei pa. It's if the pa comes first, you have to definitely put the pa first. But if you've not brought it, then the sayir doesn't come to be brought. So therefore now, what is it between the pa and another chatos? So chatos acheres kodemes the pa. The other chatos comes before the pa, like the usual rule that chatos comes before olah, and the sayir, the goat, will be brought later. Parasha v'lezara kodem v'sayir ba'imai. The pa v'lezara comes for the goat that goes with it. Mineshu kadmei mikra is mentioned earlier in the psukim there. If you're going to follow the psukim, then what about Rosh Chodesh? The Ayla Shav Rosh Chodesh Yigdem L'Sayir should come before the Sayir of the Chatas HaBayim, which comes with him. Neshu Kadma is quoted earlier in the pasuk. Rabbi Bamar, Les Yachil, you cannot equate the matter. Avodah Zarah, there's a hint in the pasuk, the part comes first, because Chatas Didei Chasa, the Chatas mentioned is lacking an aleph. So izim echad lachatos, lacking an aleph. To tell you it lacks the same importance which usual chata'is have, which means they should come first before olah. Right? Rosh Chodesh is the opposite. There's a remez that the goat comes before other commodities. It says with the goat, Rosh Chodesh, Vasir izim echad lachatos Hashem al olas hatamid. Right? The pasuk smachas hasai, the Torah put the pasuk of the Rosh Chodesh goat next to the olas hatamid, next to the morning one, to tell you the goat has to be straight away after the korban tamid of the morning. Okay, a man comes before a woman to give life and to restore lost objects. Korban ish korban isha, a man or a woman bringing a korban ish koden, the man's one comes first. Hadad atam, that's all very well said. Kishayish named Shavin. They were both bringing a par or a kid goat. They're bringing different ones. The woman's one is a bigger animal, then hers comes first. Eved may be pa. If the Eved, the servant's bringing a pa, Barabba may be side, the master's bringing a goat. Eved Rabba, then the master, the servant comes first, right? So you see the importance of the animal takes precedence. So Tanina Tamar, we've learned Pa Mashiach. Pa Eda, this is a right to what we said in our Mishnah. The pa of the Kohen Gadol and the pa of the Eda, pa Mashiach and pa Eda l'chamas. We do the Kohen Gadol's one first. Now, we spoke about giving clothes to people who need it and releasing from captivity. We have a story. Ma'aseh Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yishua, Rabbi Akiva. She'alu l'cholas Antiochia. They went to Antioch. Aleisa Mikvas Chachamim to collect tzedakah for the scholars. Rabbi Tamancha, there was a person there, Abba Yehuda, Abba Mitzvah. He always used to do tzedakah, but in time he was generous. Pamachas Yad Menachos, he was poor. Rabbi Seino, when he's Yashman, he sees the Chachamim coming to collect money, and he's upset. He's not got anything. He starts hiding. He goes home, and you can see the pain on his face. The wife said, why do you look ill? And they're coming here, and he don't know what to give them. She was right. She said, you still got a field. Go and sell the field. You sell half of it, return and give them money. He did this way, so he gave them the money for half the field. When they prayed for him, and they said, Abi Yehuda, Hashem should fill in what you're missing. As they were going, he plows in his half field. As he's plowing, but then Shaka Parasa, his cow fell down there into a pit. Nishma broke his leg. Yard Elijah brings it up. He finds a big treasure. He said, for my sake, the cow's leg broke. Over Hadura Asrava, he's saying, the Chachamim came back to that place. They asked the people in the area, David, is it worth going to Abi Yehuda? They said, who can get to see him? He's so rich. Abi Yehuda the Torah. He's got all the oxen. Abi Yehuda the Gamla. He's got all the camels. Abi Yehuda the Chamra. He's got all the donkeys. Chaza Abi Yehuda like Moshe. He's gone back to being rich again. But boy, he said, no. And he came to the Chachamim when they heard that he'd come again. Shav Shloman, and he asked how they are. Armelin, he said, Ma Abi Yehuda, how's business going? Armelin says, Peres your tefillah was very successful and very rich. Armelin, he said, other people gave more than you last time, but you are like the tops of the givers. We know you gave with a good heart. They gave him a lot of respect. They said on this pasuk, Matan Adam Yachiv Laib Lifnei Gedolim Yanchenu. So he will be great, the one who is generous. He made a collection. The shul in Tveria. There was someone from the Bnei Silni family. A pasuk had a liter to have. He agrees to give a liter of gold. Now, as they put him next to him, again, he gave him a blessing from this pasuk because he was generous. Shiva and Lakish on the Basra, he went to Basra. There was one who was called Rabban Ramaya, the head of the thieves. He wasn't a thief. He was cheating in mitzvahs. He would see how much other people gave for charity, and then he would make a total for the whole sibul, whatever equivalent. When he saw this, not Rav Shimon Lakish or Shicha, they put him next to him and covered him. So again, they all quoted this pasuk about him. The man comes before. I understand they're both the same thing to live. So they both need clothes. But what about it's two different purposes? Then who comes first? We learn from the following: wife of the Talmud Chacham, or the life of Amaretz. The clothes of the wife of a learned gentleman come before the life of the Amaretz because of respect to the Chaver. I never said the woman comes first. Ella ksus eshes Chaver. But it's the clothes of the wife of a Chaver, the Chaye Amaretz, the life of Amaretz. If it was some a man and woman, one for living, one for clothing, then the living one comes first. If he loses and his father lost something, who comes first? Shalai his one first. Rabbi, his and his teacher, Shalai his one comes first. Rabbi, his teacher or his father, the teacher comes first. The father brought him to this world. Rabbi taught him wisdom. But Rabbi Shalom the Mishnah, and we're talking about Rabbi taught him Mishnah, not the one who taught him Sukkim. If the father is equal to the teacher, then the father comes first. How does it help? He's equal to wisdom. At the end of the day, the father brought him just to this world, and the Rebbe brought him to the next world. So how does it help if he's equal in wisdom to the teacher? We're talking about a case, not that he's equal in wisdom. He was equal in the Torah he taught him. So half is learning from his father and half from the teacher. Now, we know a father comes before mother in Kibbud Avein, yeah? Because the mother also has to respect her husband. If they're divorced, then they're both equal. Right? The Sefta talks about returning items as well. Now, what about Avedas Aviv Shachasi Tamud Avimanu? So the father lost something, and you got half your learning from him. Avedas Imai, or his mother lost something, who's divorced. Grishas Ma'aviv. Mikanim, who comes first? Aviv or Shigdam? We say the father comes first because he taught you half your learning. Actually, can't tell what it meant. Maybe all the learning has to come. Or what about Avedas Rabbi? Your teacher lost something. Shachasi Tamud Avimanu, half the learning from him. Avedas Imai, his mother who's divorced. Grisham Aviv, Mikanim, Rabbi or Shigdam? Do we say the teacher comes first? All the learning has to come from him. Very good question. We have no answer. Now, Avedas Avedasima, he loses, his mother loses something. Avedas Aviv, and his father loses something, who taught him half his learning. Avedas Rabbi, and his teacher lost something as well, who taught him half his learning. Shalai Kailaviv, he comes before his father, but Aviv Le'imai, the father before the mother, the Imai, the rabbi, the mother before the teacher. Now, why do you have to tell me the father comes before the mother? Isn't it clear in the Mishnah? He says, Aish Kaidim Le'isha, La'achas Elasha Veda, to return a lost item. So maybe they wanted to say, when is the father comes before the mother? That is if there's no teacher there. She'ein Rabbi Sham. So maybe he now comes to tell you that the father's lost before the mother's lost. I feel Rabbi Sham, even if there's a teacher there. Who my rabbi? Him and his mother and his teacher, but Aviv and the father are all in captivity. I'm doing B'Shvi. He comes, who kind of my first him, then his mother. The rabbi, the mother before the teacher, Rabbi Aviv, the teacher before the father. Well, must listen. Haven't we learned in the Mishnah? Ish Kedemes the Isha. Isha Kedemes the Ish. L'chasul l'siyam b'beis Shevi to redeem from captivity. So you see, maybe they wanted to say that's Kishen Rabbi Sham. The teacher's not there. So maybe he wants to tell you I feel Rabbi Sham even if the teacher's there. Rabbi Shalim Dai Chachma was the teacher taught him wisdom. He started learning with him when he was young. He said, most of his time was from him. He explained to him even one Mishnah. Like the one who says, and most of your learning is from him. Why didn't he just quote, if Rabbi Yehuda said this, just quote Rabbi Yehuda? Why say the one who's done most learning when it was Rabbi Yehuda who said it? Some say that there are different opinions who said it. Therefore, you wanted to just say the din without quoting. Rabbi Zakar, he did kriya on person who started his learning with him. Like the view of Rameh. Shmuel, he sort of helped carry the coffin on a person who helped him in his learning. What din did he explain it to him? Remember, there's a din in Tamid, with the entrance of the Heichal every morning, they had two locks. One you opened straight, and one you had to bend your arm in to open it. So you have to put your arm down into the lock to open it, and the other one, the Echad Pesach given one you could open easily. This pshat was explained to him. You had to bend Amma and Amma in order to open the door, because the lock was in the bottom part of the door and you needed to bend an Amma to reach it. And Shmuel did kriya even on this person who explained this Mishnah. Rav Chanina, he was leaning on Rav Abba and coming to Sipayir. So everyone running. He says, why is everyone running? Amalei says, Rav Yochanan is the one giving a drasha. Yossi Dosh Vesum Rosh, Rabbi Benaya. Everyone wants to go and hear him. Rav Chanina, when he heard this, blessed is he, that he showed me my fruit while I'm still alive, that my Talmud Rav Yochanan is the one giving the drasha. And I taught him all the Agadat on the Psukim, except for Mishlei and Kaheles, I didn't teach him. So Rav Chanina was the teacher of Rav Yochanan and Agadat. And we find Rav Chanina died, Rav Yochanan tore his clothes. So he treated him as his teacher. And he taught him most of his wisdom in Agadat. So according to Rav Yochanan, if you teach most wisdom in one part of the Torah, it's considered a teacher, even though it wasn't all parts of the Torah. And if the man and woman are in disgrace, then the man comes first. We redeem the man first. Lama, why? Again, the woman's disgrace is more natural, as opposed to a man. Master He went to Rabbi. They said about one child, Yerushalmi, a child who was in prison. He was a beautiful appearance, and he had these locks. But he was there in disgrace. Yeshua was going to check him out. The vodka comes to the entrance. Then he said, who's the one who's given the Jewish people away to be in this spoil like this? Allah Hashem. And the child told him the last part of the pasuk. Zuchatana, we've sinned to him. We didn't go in his way. We didn't listen. He started crying. He said, I give evidence as I'm not moving from here until I redeem him. Right? Remember, there's the story of Amar Rottenborg. He was captured. There was a big redemption money, and one was allowed to spend the money, and they wanted to redeem him, but he refused. He was worried the guy will try and take the Gedolei Hadar and so on. Therefore, he refused to be ransomed. Okay. So what have we got here? He started crying. He says, I'm not moving on until I redeem him. And this was Rabbi Shua ben Chananya. Rabbi Shua ben Chananya said about this pasuk, these special children. The Babli says this child was Rabbi Shua ben Elisha. He was the grandson of Rabbi Shua ben Elisha Cohen Gadol. Cohen Kodem le Levi. A Cohen comes before Levi. Levi to Israel. Israel to a Mamzer. Mamzer to a Nasin. Nasin, the ones who were Nasin were not Zara Yisrael, right? Nasin Lager, because the Nasin was grown up in Israel. And Ger before an Eved Meshuchra, because an Eved Meshuchra is from Arur, that Avodim were Arurim. Emasai, when he's this they're all equal. And Mamzer Tam Chacham, and Mamzer Scholar comes before Kohen Gadol, who's an Amaretz. And Mamzer Tam Chacham, Kohen Gadol Amaretz. Kohen Kodem le Levi, Levi le Yisrael, Yisrael to a Mamzer. Chacham Kodem le Melech, Chacham before a Jewish king, Melech Kodem le Kohen Gadol, Kohen Gadol Kodem le Navi, Navi is before Meshach Melchama, Meshach Melchama is before the head of the Mishmar, Rosh Mishmar is Kodem the head of the Beis Av, Beis Av is before the Kodem le Malkal, who is the one who's appointed in the Beis Mikdash, but Malkal Kodem le Gizbar comes before the treasurer. Gizbar comes Kodem le Kohen Hedyet, and the Kohen Hedyet comes before Kodem le Levi, and a Levi the Israel to a Mamzer, Mamzer to a Nasin, Nasin to a Ger, Ger to Eved Meshuchra. When do we say this sort of Zmantrikul and Shavit? They're all equal in wisdom. But Mamzer Tam Chacham, the Kohen Gadol Amaretz, then Mamzer Tam Chacham comes before Kodem le Kohen Gadol Amaretz. Chacham Kodem le Melech, the wise man before the king. Shechacham Shemei saying like this, but there's no one like him when he dies. But Melech Shemei is going to serve in the months. Anyone else can be a king. For the 40 days, Moshe was on the mountain. He was learning Torah and forgetting it. But it's given as a gift. Why? To bring back an answer to those who say we forget it all the time. Why should we learn? Mr. Rabbeinu tells you if you try, even though you forget it, you will receive it. Kadamach Rav Simon ben Zavid, when Rav Simon ben Zavid died, Rav Hili, after Eloi, Rav Hili gave a hesped. He said 4 types of metal that were needed: silver, gold, copper, and iron. And if you lose it, you can exchange it. Yesh la kesef moitza. There's a place you can get silver. And it says Makam Lazav Yazaiku, there's a place where they pour gold. So these things you can bring out. These, if they get lost, you can replace them. The scholar who dies, maybe none cares by who can replace him. Etc. He's like hidden away. The brothers of Yosef they found the silver cup, right, in the bag. And they were upset. We've lost from Simon Bazvid. How much more so? Etc. Right. He says you put Shlem on the mule and take him to Gicha and you anoint him, and Dovid is commanding the Kohen Gadol to put Shlomo Melech on the mule while they're going walking. So the covet for the king is before the covet of the Kohen Gadol. And that which we say Kohen Gadol is before Navi, So in the reference to the pasuk, first he mentioned the Cohen and then the Navi. Higlin Zadok then Nasim. Navi mechapes yadav v'raglav. He sits with humility. The Yerushalmi b'fnei Kohen Gadol, he sits in front of the Kohen Gadol. Matam, what's the source of this? Shimona, listen, Yeshua Kohen Gadol. Ata v're'acha yeshim l'vnach, those who are sitting in front of you. Their friends were sitting in front of him. Yachal hayu hedyatis. You think they were ordinary people? Tamalom kiyanshem mavaseva. No, they were wondrous people. They were prophets. Like we say, I'm my face. I'll give you a sign or a wonder. So when the pasuk, talks about the friends of Yeshua God, men of wonder, it means they were Nevi'im. Okay, Navi kaidem Masechet Horayos. Navi comes before Masechet Horayos. Kaidem Rosh Mishma comes before the Rosh Mishma comes before Kaidem Rosh Beisav. Rosh Beisav comes Kaidem LaMakal before the other manager. Ba'Makal Kaidem LeGizba before the treasurer. Gizba Kaidem LeKohen Hedyot, and Kaidem LeLevi, Levi LeYisrael. Now, Levi Yisrael. Why is a Levi better than Yisrael? This is at the time of the base of Mikdash where the Levim was standing on the Ducha to sing, but nowadays the Levi does not have any preference. In Bavli, it doesn't say this. The Bavli says even nowadays the Levi comes first. It says, Levi. They were separated to be holy to Hashem. Right? Some say the Yerushalmi agrees that Levi comes before Yisrael. The Gemara here is not connected with our Mishnah, but there's a sugya in Nazir. It says if there's a Levi Yisrael going on the way, they find a Mace Mitzvah, Yisrael deals with it, not the Levi. The Gemara says, what difference is there between a Levi and Yisrael as far as a Mace Mitzvah? There's no Kedushas Levi stopping him to become Tameh. And the Gemara answers, last time the Beis Mikdash was Chaim, the Levim needed to sing. And therefore it's best that the Levi does not become Tameh so that he doesn't stop him singing. If you have, a guy who wants to become Jew, and a Meshumad who wants to come back into Shuvah, Meshumad Kaidem. We deal with him first, because the story with the Rishon ben Parachia, he pushed away his Talmud, he wanted to do Shuvah, in the end, bad things happened. Why do people run after Geras to marry her? They don't take a shifcha who's been redeemed. A shifcha like a maidservant has been redeemed. She was probably saved from Zinus. This is a woman who's become Jewish, right, by being freed from being a servant to a Jewish master. You don't assume she kept herself free. Why do people run after the mouse to kill it? It's bad luck. It eats their food, it gets no benefit, it just ruins everything. Okay. Rav Yochanan said, Al Tamid, another clap. Al Tamid be'eved. Do not believe a servant is freed. Trisha Asadar, wait 16 generations. And what do we find? It was in the 7th month. There was the killing of Gedaliah, yeah? But Yishmael ben Netani ben Elishama Mizera Amlocha, and the people, they killed Gedaliah, V'yakas Gedaliah in Mizpah. And this Yishmael ben Netaniah, who killed him, he was the 16th generation to a servant who had been freed. So therefore, Rabbi Shua ben Levi, he said, Rosh Zaken, head of a Nasi, head of a tribe, or Chacham, Zaken Kaidem, Chacham first, She'ena Rosh. He's not considered a head or Nasi, Im'ena Zaken, if he's not a Chacham. Ma'atam, what's the source of this? Atem Litzam Kolechem. You're all standing, you're Shiftechem, Ziknechem, and it talks about Roshechem first. And it says, he gathered all the elders, Shekama, etc., and he called them until Roshim. So again, he put the elders before Roshim. So Moshe put the Roshim before the Zakenim. Moshe was Zakenim. I mean, sure, did the other way around. He did Zakenim and Roshim. Everyone was his disciple. He did Roshim and the Zakenim. He put the Roshim first. It's not that he's giving less respect to the Zakenim. Whereas Yeshua, Adei Shalaya, you are called Tamidim. Not everyone wants this Tamidim. He did Zakenim and Roshim. You put the Zakenim first. And Moshe, or Adei Shalai Sachlahem. He didn't need the elders, but Kibush with the conquering of the land. Alright, he did Roshim and Zakenim. Put the Roshim first. Yeshua Adei Shalai Sachlahem, but Kibush Haaretz. He needed them to divide up the land to get advice. Therefore, he did Zakenim LeRoshim. He put Zakenim first. And Moshe, another third reason, Torah was given to him in a way as a gift, so he hadn't told as much. Higdim Roshim and Zakenim, so he put the Roshim first. Yeshua he worked hard, therefore Higdim Zakenim and Roshim. He was the Zakenim, he did toil with the Zakenim, therefore was more beloved. If Yeshua de Sichnin, B'Shem Reb Levi, Moshe, he said, they should suffer Baruch HaKodesh. He could see in the future, they'll go into the exile, and their heads, Roshen will try and be and speak for them before the king. Higdim Roshim B'Zkenim, he put the Roshim first. Tani related to Brisa, Hasidron, a Chacham, whose Mishnayos and Brises are clear in his mind, but he's not so really deep. Kodem lepilpulon comes before Chacham, who's mefulpul and very sharp, but he doesn't have the Brises clear. Rabbi Shmuel, Achod Rabbi Rechia, he asked, what about Izabaki, right? One who's fluent. Yafilu Kuravami, because he come first for a sharp one, even like Ravimi. Amalei said, by Ravimi, you're asking about Ravimi, who's certain offer, he's everything. He's got everything. He definitely comes first. Now, you need to know the Mishnayos and the Brises. Hadar Amra, this tells me, learning Mishnah Kodem LeMikra comes before Psukim. V'dava Sayeleh, this is supported Tanif Shem Berechai Ha'esik B'Mikra Midah. Okay, it's one thing to learn Psukim. But She'ena Midah is not so great. Like Mishnah and Talmud are more important. Rabbanan Avdin, Mikra and Mishnah. The Chachamim say Psukim is like Mishnah, you get equal reward. But Shmuel Nachman says Mishnah Kodem LeTalmud, Mishnah before Gemara. What's the source? Kanei Chachma, Kanei Bina. Chachma is Mishnah, which teaches us the laws of the Torah. Bina is Talmud, which is to understand the Mishnahs. Rabbi Yochanan, he said Talmud Kodem the Mishnah. No, the Talmud is more important than Mishnah. What's the source? Kanei Chachma, Matay B'Charotz. How much better than from gold, and Bina is referred to Kesef. So when you acquire wisdom, which is Mishnah, is more than gold, but after you've reached another level of Bina, then you don't really look at what you bought already. You don't look at anything you bought, only something best from silver, not gold. Bina is like in your eyes, like something chosen from gold. What's it saying? You don't anymore look at Chachma, that's something you bought, Nifra B'Kesef Lemizav. Bina is now like better than gold. Okay. It's like chosen like gold. What does he do with the person of Shmuel brought, which mentioned Chachma Mishnah before Bina? He says, Mayim bezol, water is cheap. Yain b'yaka, wine is expensive. And yet, you can live without wine. But you can't live without water. So that's what he's saying, according to Rav Yochanan as well, as far as the Mishnah of the Talmud, that this Bina Yikara, right, is more important. The learning of Gemara is more chashuv than learning a Mishnah. But we put the Chachma because it's needed more. What's he doing with that? He says, look, salt is cheap, and pilpulin, but yaika, peppers are expensive, and yet, you can live without peppers. You cannot live without salt. You learn the Mishnah more than Talmud to go over it. I don't know about that, which you say you have to put the Mishnah for the Talmud. You've not yet, your teacher's not taught you the majority of the Mishnayos. After he's taught you in your Baki, then you should run after the Talmud Yosef in a Mishnah, Middle Mishnah. Torah Rav Shmuel bar Rav Yosef Ribun, Chacham be'ena v'shashe, v'dal mevin yachkarenu. Chacham be'ena v'shashe, a Chacham in his eyes is a wealthy man, Zebala Talmud. V'dal mevin yachkarenu Zebala Gada. Balagada is considered poor. Divragada, why? 1 second. The Dal Mevin Yachkarenu, the Balagada, is Dal, but he gives drashas which people follow, yeah? People want to listen to him. more than the Bala Talmud. Words of Agadata, people are very interested in following. I gave a marshal the Shnaim Shenechnusu Le'eh. Two people going in the town. One has vessel money of gold. One has small coins. The one who's got the gold is hard to change it. He can't buy food. It's hard for him to change the coins. The one who got small coins and he can live. Peres. Peres Mikra. Psukim Moshe Zeh Mishnah, Mishpat Zeh Talmud, Hashem Zeh Tisefes, that is the Tisefta. Okay, so the extras that were added with the Mishnah. Maaseu Kovnev Nekis Kalam Neidis Chaim Mekisecha. They all get their reward from one source in heaven. Rabbi Bakahana Azal Echadatai went to a place Ashkach. He found Reb Levi Yosef Dosh dashing away. A man who Hashem gives wealth, he's not lacking anything more than he wants. So let's see. Aisha Mikra means he has tzukim. He has halachas. He has big collections of brises. He going like the Mishnah of Rabbi Chia. The Mishnah said Rabbi Moshe, Mishnah said Rabbi Kapara. He doesn't give false balagada. So balagada, he doesn't give sakim. Yeah, he doesn't forbid things, allow things. Through his pilpul, he can dissect the reasons of the dinim and paskin. And when he heard this, when he heard this, he kissed Reb Levi on his head. He says, just like you merited to darshan standing up, when you're a Talmud, you should merit to his good memory metiv. You should darshan sitting down as well as Rosh Hashiva. Now, Bikshu Lemanos Zakanim. They wanted to appoint Zakanim, elders for Sanhedrin. Where do you go from? Where do you get them from? Mitzivaria. From Tiberia, the north. Amidoraima, or maybe from Eretz Yehuda in the south. Oh, Simon Yehuda Yale. So Yehuda should go up in the book of Shoftim, so we should get from there. Avler Rabbani says, no, that's all very well in Melchama for war. Avler Benoi to appoint Dayanim, those who are great in wisdom. You get them? Rabbi Yaakov Ba'idi, B'Shem, B'Shur B'Levi, the elders went up. There's two who are fitting for Ruach HaKodesh, and Hillel HaZaken is one of you. But the Baskal never told them who the second one was. And they said Shmuel must be the one. Right? And this must be the one the Baskal is having in mind. Sure, there was a story that went to Aliyah, and the heavenly voice said, Yesh Benechem Shnayim of Ruach HaKodesh, two are fitting to have Ruach HaKodesh. Shmuel HaKatan is one of them. No, Elazar must be the one. Well, they were happy. They got it right. It turned out that they were the right people they thought about. They were right about Shmuel HaKatan. Families of Ba'apazi and Ba'ashia, this is an interesting story, this. They used to go and visit the Nasi every day. And there were slots, right? Visiting slots. But the Hoshia family went first. They were more chashuv. After a while, the Ba'apazi family married into the Nasi's family. So because they married into the family, they wanted to get an earlier slot. I said, they wanted to now come earlier. Because we're married into the Nasi's family. We're more important. Also, they asked Ravibi, can you push away a family because you married into the family? You have to set up the Mishkan always as its proper way. There's a proper way, a law for wood. Wherever the beams were, that's where they have to be put, right? Zachar Nasim Basava, and Yas Basarim is in the north, it stays in the north. Badarim Basarim, Nas Basarim. So here as well, look, Ba'osha used to come first. They get to stay coming first. And that's when nothing's going to change. Taz Israel, Batzibari, there were two farmers in Zibari, Balavataya, which is like the word Balavatim. One of them were Bala, we gave advice, or Bagnaya, and the second one, ordinary people. They would go and meet the Nasi every day. And Bavataya, the Bavataya would go in first, come out first. Also, Bagnaya, I said, now, the Bagnaya family managed to learn Torah a bit. And now they were great in Torah. So now they start asking us, and they came, buy milk and why we want to go first. Because now we're scholars. Ishtala, the question was asked to Rishlakish. Rishlakish asked Rav Yochanan. Rav Yochanan Dashi says yes. Beves Medrash to Rabbi Naya, he gave the answer. Afilu Mamzeh Talmid Chacham, and Kain Gadol Ha'aretz. Mamzeh Talmid Chacham comes first. Kaidem the Kain Gadol Ha'aretz. So here as well, the Bnei Mishpacha are scholars. They come first as a more important family. The Chashivas of Torah, therefore they should be first to visit the Nasi. So maybe they wanted to say that you can't prove this from the Mishnah. The Mishnah said Lipados. Now we're talking about redeeming from captivity, and Achachios and Achasos to give life and to cover clothes. Ali Yeshiva, as far as sitting in respect and the Rosh, other things have covered life. Maybe it was not said. Rav Avin said no. The Talmid Chacham comes before a Kohen Gadol. After Yeshiva, even sitting his head and other things of respect, like we find from the words of Rav Yochanan, he understood. The Mishnah said about covered, like to go first into the Nasi. What's the source for this? The Torah is more gloried than all types of importance. Even from the Kohen Gadol who goes in the Holy of Holies. We haven't finished Masechet Horayos now, but we have finished Masechet Horayos.